Fallout 76 is a prequel to all the other games, and it's our biggest one yet.
Tell me lies.
Fallout 76% off came out the other week, and the cycle of calling the new Fallout game garbage at launch, ramping up praise for the last game in spite of its flaws, and eventually warming up to the new game after a year or two begins anew. Save for the fact that the last part of that flowchart may not exist this time around. Now, quick disclaimer, this isn't a review, critique, or anything fancy like that about Fallout 76. I don't own the game, I don't want to own it, and I never will. I have, however, watched like 7 videos on it with the odd hot takes, so that automatically qualifies me as an armchair expert. This video isn't entirely about Fallout 76 though. The survival genre is one that's entirely been grounded in the indie sector for the longest while. The Forest, DayZ, 7 Days to Die, The Long Dark, hell, Minecraft, the list goes on. And while each of these games focus on different aspects of survival, the one thing they all share is the element of plain old survival, bearing the brunt of nature, living off the land and making it up as you go. From the heavily abstracted to the painfully complex, they've got it all. So along came a big boy developer, a couple years late to the party, so late in fact that the party had wrapped up and moved on to Battle Royale. And so they half-assed the game while claiming it was all new and shiny. Right from its announcement, I had my doubts that, as I came to find out, were hardly misplaced. And being unable to fix Bethesda's bugs for them wasn't even my main concern. My gut told me that this game would be wank. Not because I doubt Bethesda's ability to cobble together a decent game, but because they chose to create an online survival game built to deliver a choose-your-own-adventure experience. In theory, a brilliant idea, a fit so perfect for a spin-off Fallout, it's a wonder why they hadn't done it yet. As someone who's dabbled in the only real Fallout game, played through both the best and worst 3D Fallouts, and has a moderate amount of experience in a variety of survival games, one thing was immediately apparent to me. They'd have to drastically overhaul and rethink their approach to Fallout if they intended on turning it into the game that they envisioned. The biggest part of this paradigm shift they so badly needed to make would come by way of their decision to make it an online survival game. The focus shifts from can I play this solo to how can I interact with other people. Large developers under a publisher's thumb generally prioritize profits over artistic integrity. The more niche a game is, the smaller the potential audience, but the more they'll appreciate it. Dilute a game and make it shallow enough, and you have a product that appeals to everyone, but is hardly memorable. Fallout 76 is an example of the latter being taken to its extreme. You apparently can't claim to sincerely like it without your sanity and standards coming into question. And some people defend it, saying, "Oh, but it's meant to be played with friends." No, it's not a fucking secret. What isn't fun with friends? They managed to make school tolerable. Make the fun yourselves, said Bethesda, as they withheld the means of the fun making from us. I'm not making this video just to diss on their screw-ups, or how it isn't on Steam meaning no refunds, and how they'll push hard off a microtransaction so full of shit it's easier to convince me to invest in essential oils. Everywhere you look, there's people ready to pounce on this game and rant about those things, people who have actually played the game. I'm here to talk about how another game I used to extensively play went for a similar idea and fucking nailed it. I'm here to talk about how it ties into what I think Fallout 76 is missing. I'm here to talk about Rust.
The only game where slavery, cannibalism, and murder is socially acceptable.
The whole idea of having players be the first ones out in the post-apocalyptic world, sculpting and shaping it for future survivors to stumble across, is novel. In a world where the only 3 things of note are the environment, the things you can do, and the ways you can interact with other players, you need to give them the liberty to do as they see fit. And naturally, if allowed, the result is chaos. This is true of any society without rules or restrictions. In a lawless land, it's survival of the fittest. Take or be taken from. Every dog has its day, and inevitably, the guy at the top of the totem pole will inevitably be taken down by someone else. And Rust enables this wild, desire-driven behavior. You can live alone in seclusion, hoping no one intrudes on your peace, or seek out danger and adventure. Anything can happen when encountering a stranger, though more often than not, someone ends up naked, robbed, and dead. Clans are built, bonds are formed, sometimes broken. It's a place where anything can go. And naturally, this turns off a lot of people. Why would I want to spend hours on end, making resource and scrap runs, gradually building up a base only to lose it all in an afternoon while I'm absent? Why would I want to play a game where I could be minding my own business, only to have someone sneak up on me and rob me of everything? There is a myriad of reasons why people shy away from Rust. It isn't for everybody. It's niche. There's always anticipation every time you head out on a scrap run, raid a base, get raided yourself, or hear the footsteps of another player in the vicinity. In a world like that of Rust, activity is always on the horizon. Servers usually average player limits around 150, though they can go higher if so desired. There's the lack of knowledge as to how fights will play out. Strategy and luck are both parts of the combat equation. From first spawn to the endgame, your playstyle and activities naturally branch out over time as you learn more blueprints. You may not always have the one you need, but perhaps you know someone who does. Take it by speech or by force, your actions and circumstances will determine the outcome. It's sorta like a skill check, except it checks your actual skills, not the random bonuses you're allotted. Proximity push-to-talk voice chat can lend itself to some of the most organically comedic moments you may experience in a game.
How poetic
Oh man,
is
what
this?
happened here?
And that one end up naked is gonna come by and take all of our bodies.
Pick me up, please.
How poetic
Okay.
is this? We both tried to kill each other.
The maps are dotted with landmarks and monuments to explore, and various events and PvE elements provide an alternate path to sink resources into for a chance to strike it big. The developers just give you a location and a couple of entities. Everything else is almost entirely player-driven. And with both official and community servers available, you're free to choose the intended experience or a customized one. If resource gathering is too much of a pain, there are servers that multiply your resource gain by varying factors. Budget Battle Royale, there are community servers for that. This focus on community is strengthened in RP or roleplay servers, where rules are set in place to lay the foundation for a functioning society. Everyone is bound by contract to stay true to a set of obligations and fulfill certain duties. You take up roles and play your part in building, running, and being a part of a player-driven world. This degree of freedom is what makes Rust work. FacePunch, the developers behind the game, are largely transparent with all of their ideas. They've walked a long path to bring Rust to where it is right now, and it most certainly has paid off. And they're still not done! They post community updates to showcase user creations like artwork, maps, concepts, and more. A roadmap with far more features that they have in store. Contrast this with Bethesda's secretive nature, refusal to even give early copies to review outlets, and exaggerations built on a mountain of incompetence, lies, and fake transparency. Between you and me, I think it's fairly clear which one of the two studios has their shit together. And yes, they may be having internal issues within the studio. There may be workplace problems we know nothing about. I sincerely doubt any developer who's poured so much time into a game could put out a product like this without feeling ashamed, unless of course the workplace issues have made them apathetic to it. It points towards bad decisions from upper management. Creative aspirations take a back seat to making money, no matter the cost. And for anyone complimenting their behavior for fixing some of this crap, don't. You're praising them for fixing crap that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's not a fucking achievement doing the bare minimum, and you shouldn't treat it as such. As an outsider to Fallout 76 looking in, I fail to see anything other than a failed, malfunctioning, poorly thought out, half-baked, steaming pile of garbage, and I can only imagine those that actually paid full price for it feel even worse. It comes off as being made with next to zero thought or actual consideration, on the assumption that people would just buy it anyways. The fact that they made the map much larger, but stuck to an anemic limit of 24 to 32 players at any given time, coupled with the lack of any means to leave your mark on a server, or hell, even a server browser to pick and choose your favorites from, is proof enough that they're either too incompetent to implement it, or too lazy to care. Things that worry me for Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, considering the same damn engine is going to be used, and it's going to be made by the same damn people. Developers have modified and used old game engines to suit their purposes. It's not exactly unheard of. Call of Duty's various iterations ran on modified versions of the id Tech 3 engine for the longest time. CSGO, Black Mesa, and Titanfall 1 and 2 all run on different versions or forks of the source engine. Perhaps the Creation Engine 2 can be improved on and overhauled. But since time immemorial, the standard Bethesda has set is to consistently fuck up as many things as possible, a standard that they've shown they abide by to this day. Suffice it to say, Fallout 76 has a face only a mother could love. So to sum it all up, Rust did the online survival thing much nicer, but it's more niche, but nicer all the same. Bethesda did the big gay again. Don't you dare forgive or forget. Oh, but just you wait until the Battle Royale update. That'll be the one. After all, when has Bethesda ever bamboozled us?
These NPCs are not scripted. You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain.